On the ground, a tent is set up on a 2-lane road with a Humvee parked next to it. Guards stand outside it, and inside, men at computer stations are visible. It could even be the same road where the bus stopped in Chosen. We have you at 60 feet under, says researcher. Inside the tent, there are 3 men monitoring equipment, 2 in uniform, and the man who is speaking wearing a shirt and tie. You must be picking up some traces, says the researcher. The view shifts to the surface of the crater. Despite some debris and a wrecked car visible, the surface appears to have grown smooth over the time since it's collapsed. 3 people in environmental suits are standing together over a hole that appears to have been bored deeper into the crater, below the surface of the rubble. There is a winch over of the sort used to lower men into caverns or utility tunnels. A voice coming through a radio headset is heard belonging to a man lowered on the winch. That's a negative, sir, unless you count the willies, says the spelunker. The owner of the voice, also in an environmental suit, is in a cavern opened up below. There's also visible debris here: bricks, a fire hydrant, a stove. It's like a museum down here, but no bodies and no mystical reading, said the spelunker. From the shadows, 2 hands are reaching for the spelunking researcher, whose back is turned. I'm all alone down here, says the spelunker. He turns as if hearing something, but much too late to avoid whatever is charging him. With an "ah!" the men in the tent at the side of the crater remove their headsets in surprise. The next image is a symbol of the Slayer team found in the castle. It is projected on a black screen. A voice that is revealed to be Buffy's asks a decent question.
So what's it all mean?
The view reverses and we see that Buffy and Xander are alone in a study with the image projected in front of them. Buffy is sitting at the end of a conference table, contentedly eating a sandwich, while Xander sits along the side, his legs tossed casually up on the table.
Nothing from the excerpts, but I've been studying it for a while.
And?
I think it's a frown, turned upside down, and then turned upside down again.
So you think it's a frown?
Guy with a monocle frowning.
You're a terrible watcher.
I'm not a watcher.
Well, clearly.
Buffy gets up and walks over to the projected image, peering at it curiously. Xander stands up behind her, ready to change the topic.
Don't call me a watcher, and you need to go talk to Dawn.
I think it's a beautiful sunset,
said Buffy, ignoring him.
Seriously.
Buffy looks back over her shoulder at him, looking sad and a little weary.
She's gonna whine.
She's got a lot to whine about.
There's nothing I can do till we find Willow.
Xander looks at her earnestly and perhaps with admonishment.
You could be her sister.
Buffy is next seen stepping through a door some time after talking to Xander.
Xander is so stupid when he's right, but all Dawn does lately is talk about her problems, which admittingly have gotten bigger.
As Buffy steps through the door, she's in a large chamber of their base, which appears to be a castle. A stairwell wraps around the edge of the room. There are open portals in the ceiling, and it's hard to tell if it's a disused part of the castle or meant to be a nursery or something else. Sitting in the middle of the room is Dawn, and she's a giant. She literally fills the room, sitting against one wall. She has a sad and lonely expression.
Thought I'd come see you.
'Cause Xander made you?
What are you talking about?
Has Willow called?
I'm sure she will soon. But if you told me about it, I could at least get some of the apprentice witches.
I'm not talking to you about it.
But you'll talk to Willow.
Willow understands. She taught me a lot, especially when you were dead.
Taught you a lot of what?
Throughout this scene, Buffy is shown in several positions on the stairs around Dawn to indicate the passage of time. She and Dawn talk for at least a while because when they resume speaking, Buffy has gotten comfortable lying on her back on the landing of the stairs, looking at Dawn upside down.
Because you act like it's my fault.
You were dating a thrice-wise?
Kenny never said he was a thrice-wise.
I said he was a thrice-wise. Leah said he was a thrice-wise. Giles said he was a thrice-wise, and he only ever met him on the phone.
Sometime later, Buffy is at the top of the stairs about to leave Dawn's room.
You should get out. Run around the moor.
It's freaking freezing. Why do we have to be in Scotland?
You don't have to be in Scotland. You have to be in Berkeley.
Believe me, as soon as I'm person-sized, I'm out of here.
I got things to do.
As Buffy steps out of Dawn's room onto a circular stair going up, Dawn glares at her. Buffy glares over her shoulder right back.
I could swat you like a flea.
Your butt looks big in those giant pants.
Buffy begins climbing the circular stairs away from Dawn's closed door.
How does that happen? How do we turn into 12-year-olds all of a sudden every time we talk? Face it, we haven't gotten along since.
Buffy steps outside. Her face looks very sad as she stares out at the world around her.
Since we changed the world.
The view becomes very wide, and we finally see Buffy and her friend's new home. The castle sits high on a cliffside, and the view of the mountainous Scottish terrain is amazing. It appears to be sunset.
I miss my home.
Buffy's face turns toward us, looking as lonely as Dawn's did.
I miss my mom.
Buffy's face turns down in profile as her thoughts wander.
I miss the gang, and churros, and sex. Great Muppety Odin. I miss that sex.
Buffy's face grows annoyed or angry as she loses her train of thought.
Oh, I just know Dawn had sex with that Kenny and won't say anything to me, but she'll tell Willow. Fine, her first time and it all goes wrong, and I'm totally well versed. And anyhow, Willow's the expert on boys since when? Now?
Buffy reaches a hand to her forehead in frustration. She looks exhausted.
Outstanding. I can't even feel sorry for myself in this linear fashion. Suck it up, Summers.
Buffy sits with her legs hanging on the side of the castle wall. She is visible in silhouette.
You're a big girl now.
Halfway around the world, General Vol eyes are looking appalled through the slot in a metal door.
Lord.
Vol jumps back from the door, disgusted. He's in a hallway of what appears to be a laboratory or medical center. With him are the man in the brown suit and a doctor in a lab coat. He's looking at something we can't see in a room or cell and doesn't like it at all.
How was that thing alive?
Well, magic, obviously.
Says the doctor. The three leave the door and walk down the hallway. Other doors like that one are visible, as well as a nurse's station.
We believe Subject 1 was keeping him alive. Keeping both of them alive. After the decimation.
But, did they eat? What did they eat?
Best guess? Whoever else was trapped in there.
Vol doesn't enjoy the thought and rubs his forehead under his hat.
Insane. At least tell me they had the decency to go insane.
The doctor is moving toward a different cell and responds to Vol.
Unstable, but surprisingly coherent. Subject 1 is the more vocal right now. Once our man underground got over his girly screaming fit, he told us her first words, "I'm gonna help you kill her."
Vol is very upset at the news and begins waving his finger around.
Who compromised that intel?
Magic, General. You have to learn the rules.
There aren't any goddamn rules.
That's sort of what I meant.
Vol marches over to the door himself, ready to look in at Subject 1. The man in the brown suit turns to the doctor with a question.
Do you think she can help us?
What does she want?
Access to all our magical hardware. A weapons lab for her boyfriend.
You can't mean that.
Try not to picture it. Also, release and full immunity if they succeed in taking Buffy Summers down. And, well, she wants a lot of cheese.
Cheese, of course. We got a name on this nut job?
Says Vol, staring into the cell. Inside the cell, a young woman is kneeling in a padded room. Her hair is unkempt. She's wearing only a hospital gown and is covered in bandages. In her hand, a green ball of magical energy is glowing as she stares at it with a crazy smile on her lips.
Amy. She says her name's Amy.
Cast: Tina Warren as Buffy, Dee Gallucci as Brown Suit, Dakota Warren as Dawn, Stella Todd as the Doctor, Joella Freeman as Leah, Stephanie Bing as Saxon, Dorsey Price as Rowena, Penelope Zuckerman as Renee, Paul Moore as General Vol, Joshua Price as Man. Television for the Blind is a non-profit network. We do not own these characters, scripts, or otherwise, and are seeking no credit for them. Our only goal is to give blind people the same leisure of enjoying modern media as others are able to. This is Josh Price, and we hope you enjoyed this presentation of The Long Way Home, Part 1, narrated for you by Amy Price.